8 from the weekend. I know exactly where you're going here. I'm going to let you have this because you're well within your rights to be very, very upset, angry, dare I say it, devastated. Take it away, Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it's hate or heartbreak at this moment, but yeah, Gavi out for the foreseeable future, the rest of the season with Barcelona and the Euros next summer. Arguably one of the most important players for Barcelona this season and Spain. Because Pedri was injured at the beginning of this season, he stepped up and he has done such a good job. And then we see him go down with a complete ACL tear. Like he was crying on the pitch. Like it looked bad immediately. And I was thinking, oh my God. But it's so devastating, especially when it's these young players that, he could have been maybe the player of the tournament in the Euros. Maybe even if Spain didn't win it, just knowing who he is. And I'm like, there's so much potential. And you know what? He's so important to Spain that I genuinely think this could be a factor as to why they don't win. I think he's that important for this side.
Do you think they had a chance to win it with him then?
They could have had
a chance right now in Europe. Where do you rank them at the moment in Europe? I think you got France and probably England 1 and 2.
France and England, and then I think Spain, Portugal's up there. But I think Spain are for sure top 5. And I think if you're in the top 5, because it's tournament style football, anything can happen. So they still have a chance for sure. I think they're one of the top 5 teams there. But I don't know. This is bad. And also Barcelona. Let's not pretend that they've been playing well at all lately. And now Pedri has just come back. All right, the two of them together again in the midfield, and now Gavi's gone for the rest of the season. It's it breaks your heart. It breaks your heart.
Yeah, and 19 years of age, and he's played so much football since 2021-22 season started. He's played more games than any other under 21 player in the top 7 leagues in Europe. He's played so much football. He played all 4 games for Spain in the World Cup. Scored a goal, of course, in that one. I think it's 82 games. In fact, he's played since 2021-22. That's a lot of football for a guy that's still developing, right? At 19 years of age, you are still developing. So it's a crushing blow for Barca and for Spain and for football because he's just fun to watch, this kid. And it's just too bad, but we're going to see more and more of this, I think, with the amount of football these guys are being forced to play at the moment. On that note, I've got some hate here, and that's the fact that we're going to 23-man squads for Euro. I think it makes a difference if you kept the 26-man squad, as we saw last year for the World Cup. I know the women went back down to 23 this past summer, which is wrong. You want to rest players and have more opportunity to rest players. Bigger squads helps. It's not definitive. It's not the only reason. I mean, you still have 23. You can start 11 players. I understand that. But why would you just not keep the squad levels at 26? There's more and more football being played. And even Gareth Southgate, he said, listen, in the World Cup last year, I could bring some players who weren't at 100% health. I had enough, options beyond them if it didn't work out. I think Calvin Phillips was hurt last year. Reece James missed the World Cup, didn't he? Anyway, there's 2 or 3 players who were injured, who he brought anyway. Jordan Henderson was one as well, your favorite. But now you can't do that, right? You've got to be fit. You can't take that gamble, which is, I think, a bit of a shame. So I think overall, once again, money wins. To hell with the players.
It's frustrating though, because it's like, okay, you're adding all these extra tournaments, you're expanding, the format of the World Cup. Like we know it's going to happen in 2026. The one thing you could do is allow these managers to keep a 26-man squad or women's squad because of how much football, it's such an easy thing to me to do. I don't really understand why they're cutting the 3 because it's not that. I don't think it's going to factor that much except for the teams. And like you said, if there's injuries for them to handle it. But I don't really understand the justification behind this because if anything, they should be nearly making a team of 30 at this point with how much football they're playing.
Yeah, well, precisely, right? And they'll say, oh, yeah, but the big clubs and or nations have the more depth and it's an advantage for them. But they have the advantage anyway.
Yeah.
Right? 3 more players and you just keep it the way it is. And I'm not saying there won't be injuries because there will be. There was an article on ESPN this morning about the Winter World Cup and the injuries around it. And the fact is that there are far more injuries this past 12 months. And the reason is they believe is because of that Winter World Cup. It did cause more injuries, which was the biggest fear, of course, entering that tournament. So hopefully we see no more Winter World Cups. But, well,
don't hold
2034, isn't it? Anyway, all right, some more hate for you. Sarah, what do you have?
I think I'm just going to keep with the injuries. I mean, Erling Haaland... Not looking good. I know we spoke about he had a bit of a knock, but really bad times for Norway right now because they obviously later today will actually be playing Scotland. No Holland, he's their top goal scorer. Scotland already through though, but Norway only have a chance, I think, to qualify now based on the Nations League.
They're out now, I
ranking.
think officially out.
Oh, because Israel was ahead of that? I don't know. Honestly,
so.
I have tried to read through the understanding, and it doesn't matter. It's so confusing.
Ireland was playing the Dutch, right? And Ireland, for any chance to qualify, which was they could have qualified still potentially, but they had to lose to the Netherlands. So, I mean, just think about that. I didn't even see that result of that game. Do you know who won that game?
I'm literally pulling it up now because I remember I did a whole piece on this.
You did, yeah. I remember that piece. It was because it's through the Nations League angle of qualification, the way it worked out. And UEFA are aware of this and are going to try and fix it for future tournaments. But yeah, Ireland would have done themselves no favors by winning that match.
Yeah, because it comes down to the ranking, and they have a higher ranking than Greece in the Nations League, if I can recall. Okay, well, they in fact lost 1-0, just a 1-0 loss. Funny enough, Val Beghorst, Albert's favorite player,
Big Val getting it done, eh? Nice.
Yeah, so now I think that actually Ireland will be able to have a chance to go through. Yeah, even though they're below Greece, it's
stupid.
Yeah.
You know what? Qualification for all these tournaments. In the next year's Champions League and the Swiss model for all in one big group, one big table, but you play certain teams within it. It doesn't need to be this difficult.
It doesn't.
Why do these brainiacs at these federations think they've got to reinvent the fucking wheel?
I don't know. If you can't, though, if fans can't figure out what's going on, like, what are we doing? That's the thing. It's just, I think that's the hardest thing. Like, you want to, keep your fans happy. Football has so many fans all over the world. We know it's the biggest sport, but you're doing stuff like this, and people are like genuinely unsure of how to process it all.
Yeah, if it goes from VAR down to qualification, right? The times of like immediate joy and knowing exactly what's happening, they're kind of out the window. Be it a goal being scored, is it going to count to has my team qualified? Has it not qualified? If you need a calculator in the stands to figure out, you got a problem, right? We're football fans, right? We're not rocket scientists. Keep it simple. Keep it basic for us. Just trying to take our game from us and make it as complicated as possible. All right. I'll stay with the hate here. Oh, by the way, I mean, also Odegaard missing out in Euro as well, right? So missing out Haaland and Odegaard from that Norwegian team. It's a real shame, but it happens. Big players do miss out on tournaments.
Yeah.
At some point, they've got to get their shit together, though, because, listen, Norway it's not just those two players. They've got a solid 11.
Yeah, they should be. I think they should be qualified. Like, they've done it to themselves at this point, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's their fault. We can't blame UEFA for this. We'll try. No, my hate is actually, I mentioned that France 14, Gibraltar 0. Not because it's, it's an example of what's wrong with qualification. No, it's because I'm supposed to be up in arms about this, but I don't really care. In fact, I don't mind the odd crazy result. Kind of, that's interesting. I read a match report on France against Gibraltar. I would never have done it otherwise. All right. So I'm supposed to be angry. You've got some hate for it. Did you see Didier Deschamps, the manager, at halftime, his speech? They're up 7-0. And he's saying, listen, boys, I'm demanding the same effort I saw in that first half. We can break records here today. I can like that. Some people will say that's terrible, that's bad sportsmanship, but this is top quality, top flight football.
Yeah.
If you can score 10 goals. I don't care. Call me a Neanderthal. Call me, unfair and not understanding what the sanity of sport should be. But listen, Gibraltar, I'm sure Gibraltar don't really care. They got stories now, haven't they?
Yeah. I mean, like, listen, like they said, it's that one in every so often result that everyone talks about. I mean, I think Portugal, didn't they beat like Liechtenstein like 8-0 or something too? Like, we've seen a few of them, but yeah, they're expected because you have a team like France who might be the best team in Europe right now against Gibraltar, who might be the worst. Like, I think it's just bound to happen.
Of course it is, right? Luxembourg, who for years were the whipping boys, right? They'd be beaten 6, 7, 8-0. They're getting results nowadays. They're getting 3 points. They're growing into it. I'm not saying Gibraltar will, but it's kind of sport. Like, you throw these guys, all these, you're UEFA member, you throw into a big pot and luck of the draw. And sometimes you get against real good teams, you get smashed. So be it. it doesn't matter to me. You know, I don't think they're going to set the programs back. Is it sport? Well, 14-0, perhaps not. But at the same time, again, let's not overcomplicate things. Let's not try pre-qualifying tournaments, etc., etc. You're expanding these tournaments, for Christ's sakes. You want more players, more teams involved. So anyway, that's my thought on that. Do you have any more hate?
I don't think I do have any more hate. I think it was just the ongoing injuries, because I saw a list of like all the players that have gotten injured just in this window, and I was like, oh my God, it's just horrendous. But like how we spoke about it a bit on Friday, because we knew Haaland was doubtful. Feeling good, feeling great as a Liverpool fan, still worried because City still might play amazing without him.
Yeah, well, they beat Liverpool before without him, and sometimes they play better without Haaland, and that's taken nothing away from Erling Haaland, who's probably the best number 9 in world football, but they still play very well. And the reports are, it seems he will be healthy in time for that match. Yeah. But yeah, it's Man City. They have some pretty good cover there, don't they? So I shouldn't be too concerned if you're a Man City fan. The last bit of hate for me is just that pitch invasion in the Egypt-Sierra Leone game. Well, it wasn't the worst pitch invasion in the world, but there were fans onto the field going towards Mo Salah. Nothing happened in the end. But one of these days, it's so easy, it seems, for fans to get on the pitch. One of these days, something terrible could happen, right?
Yeah, you do wonder. Like, the thing is, they might not have a weapon if they have to go through security to get in, but it's still like they could be violent towards a player, right? Like it has to make players like feel on edge. Like, can you imagine being Mo Salah and being like, oh my God, like I really something bad could have happened to me just then.
Yeah. The world's a messed up place at the moment. It's a real messed up place at the moment. It takes one nutcase to do something stupid. And we see it in, what was in tennis? When was that? Was it Monica Seles, wasn't it? She was it Monica Seles was stabbed at courtside.
Yeah. I'm just.
Wow. It must be. When was that? Let me look that up. That was 1990s, right? I think it was.
Yeah, like I like only know about that afterwards because I was still a kid. Yeah.
A horrible incident, right? And I hate to say it, but I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often.
Yeah.
Let's see here. All right. 1993 was when she was attacked by a deranged German fan. In a match in Hamburg, and she was stabbed. Awful. So, you see these fans getting on the pitch, and you do see it occasionally post-match, and now and again you see some altercations with the players. But man, get your stuff sorted, get your security staff sorted out here, because it's not a good scene. Really, that was pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah, that's enough hate for one day, don't you think?
I think so.
There's always hate, but that's enough for one day. Yeah, let's take a break, and when we come back, 442picks.ca. It's around the corner once again.
442 is brought to you by North Star Bets. That's a win.